So you went on tour in 11th grade?
Yeah, it was I think it was 85, the summer of 85. Ill Repute and us did a U.S. tour.
No
and
shit.
it's a pretty famous tour where, I mean, you ask everybody the same question and they'll give you a different answer. And I know I've heard interviews with those guys and they don't remember shit. But
That's the truth. Except
for
for Larry. Larry remembers everything.
Yeah. We made it out to Pittsburgh and we played a great show at this place called the Electric Banana. And we stayed at the promoter's house. He was in a band called Half-Life. And so we went back to the house after this great gig. We started off in Albuquerque, went to Denver. We worked our way all the way out, and we got out to, basically, we were in Pittsburgh. Like I said, played a great show. And we go back to the promoter's house, and he lives in this area called the Hill District. And it's kind of ghetto. And we park the cars, and we lock everything up, and we're hanging out, I don't think none of us were really like big partiers, but we were hanging out, having a good time with the locals, and we all went to sleep, and our drummer woke up the next morning, and he said, let me have the keys to the car, and he goes out, and he comes back, and he says, there's just broken glass.
No fucking way.
We all freaked out, and we go out there, he's full of shit, we go out there, and sure in hell, man, everything's gone. The cars are gone. So we find the local police, which is a few blocks away, and it's like an old school movie. The cop sitting at the top of this thing.
He's smoking a cigarette.
Got a big cigar out of his mouth and doesn't want to hear what are you boys doing in this neighborhood anyway? And so we go back to the house and we're just hanging out on call. We've got a show. Tony's kind of doing the tour managing stuff, and he must have phoned ahead to the next city. We're not coming, or at least not that day. So we canceled that, whatever that city was. And
it's like wintertime or summer?
It was summer.
It's summer?
Yeah. And they found the car and the trailer. And they called us, and we sprinted to the police station. And when we got there, empty. Everything was gone. Everything was gone. So we made the decision we were going to power on and go to the next show, wherever it was. I think we
just asked people for
skip the place. We were going to go to Baltimore, and we were going to use the equipment. And the morale was pretty low, and the equipment was bootleg. And even for those times, it was bad. And I just remember our band playing, and it sucked. And then, like I mentioned, I was playing drums with Ill Repute, and it sucked. And I just remember those guys I could tell in their faces they wanted nothing to do with. I was 17. Let's go. We're going to finish this thing out. And those guys were like, we're going home. So, we couldn't do it without them. And I think the next morning we packed up, and it was literally nonstop until we pulled back up here in the Los Angeles area. We didn't, other than getting gas, we didn't stop.
Was it like quiet right
It sucked.
Yeah.
It totally sucked. And I want to say that for years I've heard people saying that there was these Ill Repute Scared Straight tour shirts that the whole ghetto was wearing, throughout the neighborhood, for a few years. So I think they found Tony's guitar, but it wasn't even worth like paying for the shipping to get it back. And we came home, and Ill Repute kind of went on a hiatus about that time. And we got a new drummer. Our drummer stayed out there. We got a new drummer. We kind of kept playing, and it was just different, but it was an experience that, it was cool to live, especially back then, because there's no way in hell that would happen nowadays. I'm not getting, no 17-year-old is going to get to go out and tour the country.
The thing I noticed the most about that time frame is people weren't, we're going to be in a rock band and we're going to be freaking millionaires. And it was like, we want to go, we want to have fun with our friends. Like, we love music, we love the scene. And that's what I noticed different about like our scene now in this town to then. It seemed like there was more, just the way it's described to me, that there's more love for the art at that moment.
I don't know when it changed. I'm going on 51 years old, and we still jam in the garage and have fun. I'm fortunate to be with some guys that are passionate about it. But somewhere along the lines, I think probably somewhere around the mid to late 90s when the internet kind of changed and the whole scene got a little more accepted by society, whatever years that was, 94, 95, 96, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, bands that, hey, more power to you, the popular you got. It's just, it's kind of cool that like society finally caught up to that style and accepted it. And bands became profitable. And then there was a billion bands. It used to be pretty special to have a record. You had a 7-inch or a record. It was like, it meant something. Now it means zero with all the...
I can go downtown in Ventura, throw a rock, and hit someone with a record.
No one cares. Well, they care about vinyl now, but like just the accessibility of music just saturated and watered things down. And I think the goal behind a lot of the kids and bands is we're going to make it. It wasn't like, hey, let's pack our shit up and go down to, Long Beach and go play a party. It just wasn't about that. It's not about that, I don't think, anymore. Maybe to an extreme, but...
To a certain extent.
To an extent, yeah.
Like the other day down in Oxnard, there's a skate park.
Mm-hmm.
And people just brought generators out there. And, man, it warmed my heart. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen in our scene in a long time. And just bands playing for people skating. They were in the middle. And it was just beautiful.
We used to have a ramp here. This guy, Rob... I remember we'd steal wood from all these new developments that were going up around here in Ventura and Oxnard, and it was off the freeway, like off the 126, is that what it is? Mm-hmm. Right? And it was kind of through these bushes, and you walked down, crossed a little gully, and you came into this like oasis of this hugest half pipe you ever saw in your life. And I remember bands bringing generators there and Dr. No playing, and like, it was cool. It was all about the gathering. It wasn't about, who was bigger, who was better. It wasn't anything like that. It was just about, it was a genuine, like, we've got a scene. Yeah. And we go and hang out, and you hear about it in like, like early New York, in the late 70s, you hear about a lot of those 200 people that would hang out at CBGB's. They hung out at Max's Kansas City, and they hung out at these clubs, and it was always the same people every weekend, and that's kind of how it was here. And it was definitely special. And I'd like to think and hope that, like you said, this thing you saw the other day, that needs to keep going on.
It's a spark, and that's all we need.
That's what a scene is. That's how it survives, and that's how you continue it. It's not going to be the rock club that's putting on the gig and everybody's going to come and pay their $20 to go to a show. Not everybody can do that. There's got to be a labor of love, within the scene, and